leads the cable field with growth no other company can match. Our consumer products division is known around the world for its mix of Disney licensed products, Disney Records, Disney Publishing, Disney Software, and the Disney stores, now with over 100 shops in the United States and a growing presence in the United Kingdom and throughout Europe. And speaking of Europe, it's the location of one of the 4 resorts under our Walt Disney Attractions division: Euro Disney, Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland in California, and of course, Walt Disney World in Florida. Which brings us back to my home turf and what we're here to talk about: how we tell the stories that continue the magic of the Disney name. First, a little background information on exactly what Walt Disney World is. That, I think, is a story in itself. It is over 43 square miles. For perspective, that's twice the size of the island of Manhattan, roughly the city limit size of the city of San Francisco. It is 3 theme parks, 20 resorts with a variety of themes, a campground, 6 golf courses, a shopping village, 2 water parks, a 16-train monorail transportation system, and a daily population flow equal to the size of Kansas City, Kansas. And it's only 20% developed. That's what we have to talk about, and it's a challenge to tell the story in a new and exciting way. And we set up a division in Florida to do that in a number of what I think are unique ways. Our marketing efforts roughly fall into these departments. Publicity. It handles our relationships with the working press. Promotions, which works with other entertainment media, such as television and radio programs. Participant promotions, which works with our participant companies, among them Delta, AT&T, General Motors, Coca-Cola, and others, to coordinate promotions they and we wish to do. Advertising, which plans and purchases all paid advertising media. Cooperative advertising, which puts together major inserts in print media around the country for and with and on behalf of our participants. Special markets, which focuses on niche marketing and special ticket events. And special events, which coordinates all the unusual events that happen in and around Orlando and on Disney property, which we get involved with, such as Super Bowls, the NBA All-Star Game, and so forth. We have regional offices, currently 13 around the world, and they work in their immediate areas to increase awareness of and visits to Walt Disney World. Creative Services, our own in-house creative ad agency, which creates all the advertising and promotional materials for us. And Community Relations, which works with nonprofit groups and government organizations in helping spread the word about the Disney magic. Each one of these areas is a specialty, and they all use different tools, but they are all part of the same machine, the cogs in the machine. And when they work together, the result is Disney marketing magic, cogs that are smoothed out and made to work all together. And telling the story about something more fantastic and more fun than what's gone before is what we do. And it all sounds great, and it looks like a formidable team approach. But I have to confess something, it is all pretty new. In fact, until 1984, Walt Disney World really didn't have much of a marketing effort. It's true, before '84, the entire ad budget for Walt Disney World, which had at the time attracted more than 300 million people, was less than $1 million. Why? Because we're descendants of the movie studios, where, according to lore and legend, you never advertised, at least not in the old days. You promoted, you didn't do it, you just didn't advertise. The difference is an important one. In advertising, you spend your own money. In promotion, you get someone else to spend the money on your behalf. And then through press releases, press junkets to the parks, TV specials, special promotions with radio and television stations, Walt Disney World got all the exposure the management of the company at the time felt that it needed. In fact, Epcot Center, the largest private construction project in the world at its time, was opened with practically no ad budget at all. Yet within a month of opening day, almost everybody in the United States, and indeed around the world, had heard about it, and that is the power of promotion. But things change, and I personally think all this attention Epcot focused on Walt Disney World paid us a strange and great dividend. It got some new people interested in visiting, and they keep coming back for more. 1983-84 was the period the world almost lost Disney, and I am not exaggerating with that comment. It started on a dark day when we got some bad news. A Wall Street raider was intent on going nose to nose with our company. They offered what looked like a real sweet deal to our stockholders. But when you looked into this situation, it was not a pretty sight. It would have meant the swallowing, digesting, and destruction of the Disney Company. And we tried everything to fend them off. But none of our old Disney magic seemed to work until, as in all good fairy tales, as in all good stories, we were rescued by a hero, actually two of them, Michael Eisner and Frank Wells. Both of them came from the movie business. Michael was the president of Paramount, and Frank had been the president of Warner Brothers. And Frank was just returning to the business world after taking a year off to climb the highest mountains on each of the world's 7 continents. So we figured he was a guy who was used to a challenge. Michael and Frank came in, and one of the first things they did was look at our ad budget. And I remember being there for that presentation. And I remember their reaction. You've got to be kidding. They literally said to our vice president of marketing at the time, what could you do with $10 million? And this was his reaction. Yep, he was our guy. After he picked himself up off the floor, he proceeded to show them, and we started doing television commercials like this. So advertising at Disney World had become real, and so had our jobs, actually. Our TV production budgets went from $10,000 to about $1 million, and ideas started to come from everywhere. In fact, one came from a dinner Michael and his wife Jane were having with the 2 pilots, Dick Rutan and Gina Yeager, who had just flown around the world in the Voyager experimental aircraft. And at one point during dinner, Jane Eisner said to the pilots, after doing something like that, what you've done, what do you do to top it? What else can you do? And their answer sparked an ad campaign for us. They said, well, I guess you go to Disneyland or Disney World. And part of Michael's genius is knowing when to pluck an idea out there, and he plucked this one and sent it our way. And there was a Super Bowl coming up, and against all odds, we pulled the strings and did what we needed to do to get on the sidelines and start a new tradition. Mr. Viola got so excited about it, he actually moved to Orlando. True story. Well, the ultimate compliment to an ad campaign is when it becomes part of the national language, and this campaign certainly did, and we're complimented by it. In fact, this campaign has even attracted some unsolicited offers to do the spots. Recognize this guy? Well, as big as this campaign has become, a few big names have gotten away. Almost. Commercially did it on live television on CNN anyway. That was a good one. As you can tell, things were picking up around the Mouse House, and the ideas for us were getting bigger and bigger and longer and longer. For the opening of our Disney MGM studios, we decided to really make a statement. Mickey needed a unique new car, so we built for him the longest limo ever, including a cheese bar. It was complete with a functioning radio studio in the back, too. Remember that business about promotion. Well, behold the limousine, and it popped up everywhere, even on the late-night talk shows at the time. Well, we thought we had reached a peak in promotional transportation with that one, but we had another opportunity just recently to promote our association with the nearby Indianapolis 500 Race and Festival. See if you recognize any of these driving personalities from this news clip. I think Little Al, after he finished that race, went down the road here and won another one this year. These are all unique and challenging ways to market a product for us, but sometimes we have some challenging products to market as well. For example, when our Imagineers came up with the idea for Body Wars, one of our most popular attractions at Epcot Center. For those of you who haven't experienced it, Body Wars is a ride through the human body, and it all takes place inside a modified flight simulator, which pitches and rolls and can drop 16 feet in a second, and it does. Obviously, a flight through the human body provided some very delicate challenges from a marketing perspective. So specifically in marketing this attraction, what could we say? Exactly where should one enter and exit the human body? So that's when you call a marketing staff meeting, and after a lot of discussion, we came up with the only answer, of course, in one ear and out the other. Actually, we sidestepped the whole question and just chose to focus instead on the thrill of this journey. Sometimes the limitations of our media don't allow us to do what we want. For example, how do you market a 3D movie in a 2D medium? This was our challenge in marketing a great new Muppet attraction at our Disney MGM studios. which the Muppets wanted to say was 4D. Well, for help, we turned to Dr. Bunsen Honeydew of the Muppet Labs, and he came up with the idea of 2D, 3D, and it worked. Take a look. Well, we've had a few other challenges to market too, such as when we developed a new area of the Magic Kingdom called Mickey's Starland. The plans included a petting farm with livestock, but we never expected this. Meet Minnie Moo, a cow with some fairly unusual markings on her side. She's the larger of the two there. Minnie created quite a stir with her arrival, and we received thousands of letters and offers about important new discoveries that people were willing to sell us, mostly from their pets. From a cat with a mouse on its nose, to a very sharp-looking cactus, to a potato with ears instead of eyes, to this man who thought his sweat pattern was worth sharing with us. Thank you very much, but we'll pass. Believe me, no amount of marketing, study, or experience can prepare you for offers like those. And those are bits and pieces of the kind of fun we have in dreaming up the new and the different, and then beginning the process of telling our stories. But behind it all is a never-ending team effort of all the departments I mentioned earlier. And nowhere do these efforts come together more than during special events, much like our 20th anniversary special event just a year ago. It began with a simple goal that I posted on the board for everyone. Let's just have the largest gathering of press and media ever assembled in one place at any one time ever. And let's do it at Disney World. So, with over 10,000 press and guests, representatives, from 492 print organizations, 150 radio crews, 96 television outlets in the U.S., and press, radio, and television representatives from 29 countries, we did the deal. A fellow by the name of President Bush stopped in. We debuted 2 new parades, a new air and water show, 2 new stage shows, and showcased everything in a 4-day event that was reported around the world. Meanwhile, our advertising and creative services departments cranked up a campaign which gave people the general impression that there was indeed something kind of new happening at Disney World this year. Well, when we have an event like this, we encourage our participant partners to join in too, to round out the marketing effort. And through our participant promotions department, they do. Here are just a couple of the tie-ins we generated for our big birthday. While our other promotion efforts cranked up too. For example, we soared to new heights this year with a castle in the sky hot air balloon created just for the event. And it joined our balloon fleet, Air Force One and Zippity Doo Duck, to fly around the world, getting attention for Walt Disney World during the 20th. As you can see, we went out in the air, but we went out on the road too. Through promotions and special events, we barnstormed the country with the Rolling Castle Tour. And we took the magic of Disney out into the heartland, complete with a bus, truck, and castle show. And you will get wet. We didn't put that part in there, though. Our other forms of marketing are underway, too. As part of any opening, we bring in the top radio and TV celebrities in our markets in Florida and elsewhere and build commercials around contests for their viewers. Here's one for Splash Mountain. Looks easy, right? Of course. Well, what you don't see, though, are the flubs. So I found a few of those before I left home, too.